I have two different story times for y'all. And we're going to use these story times as a teaching tool for women and our daughters and our little cousins and the girl that we know down the street a little bit that we see sometimes. We're just going to be talking to women about self-esteem, boundaries, and not giving up on dreams. All right, the two different story times in one post. This woman says, I was with a guy for 2 years, and it was okay for the first year and a half. There were things he did, of course, that I didn't like, and he always acted like he didn't understand why I was so upset about it. I wanted to help him. I really thought it was something wrong with him, and I was going to fix it. Stop being Barb the Builder. Stop being Barb the Builder. That is not your job. Don't do that. Okay. So I started going to school. When I started going to school, this man became an absolute demon. He was cheating, stealing, lying, and gaslighting me like crazy. She says, I really loved him and believed his nonsense until he got two 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 girls pregnant at the same time, and then blamed me and called me a manipulative person for telling the truth when he kept it a secret to not hurt their feelings. So she told the truth, and then she's the manipulative one. Okay, cool, got that. At this point, I started going to therapy. Pair that with studying psychology, I realized he was a narcissist, and I guess it pissed him off when I decided to go back to school. When I started telling my therapist about him and the things he was doing, she explained the 8 different types of abuse. That's when I realized he was doing 7 types of abuse to me, most of which started only back after I went to school. I keep a diary, so it was easy to point out everything that happened over the almost 2 years. He was over at my house, and we had a friend over. I met her through him. They were both being jerks the whole time they were over. I got upset by their behavior and wrote about it in my diary. Okay, so he reads the diary. She says he read my diary and saw me calling them a-holes, and he told her. And she was upset and mad at me. It was a horrible experience. I explained to both of them how they were terrible, and her only reply was, well, that's not enough to call us an a-hole, though. He was gossiping about me to others and talking down on me like crazy bad, and I find out right after this situation. And because he was mad at me, he wasn't willing to answer the phone or text or talk to me during that period. It was 5 days of being ignored. I had enough time to get everything together and just get out of the situation. She says, since that video has gone viral with that girl saying that a lot of women never get the degrees due to a man, it finally clicked that he became the worst person in the world only after I explained to him that I was going back to college. I guess the moral of the story is watch who you have in your friend group or laying in your bed, because your biggest enemy really do be the people you trust the most. Basically, don't sleep with the ops, or you could be sleeping with the ops. I don't know which viral video she's talking about, though. Okay, so we heard her moral of the story. This man changed up once she started trying to better herself. Now let's move on to the next story. Okay, now this woman sent me this message saying, thought you could use this as a cautionary tale of dusty roaches looking to nest and rest. They met and got married after less than 5 months. They've been married for barely 6 months. She moved and left a great job, friends, etc., to be with this guy. This is the reason why I said at the very beginning, don't just up and leave everything. Don't just give up yourself and center a man in your universe, because that could easily fall apart. All right, let's get to this. So this woman made a long post. She said, I sacrificed everything I have for someone who easily could throw me away. I know I haven't been the best at all. I know my faults with my bipolar disorder, but I'm in therapy twice a week. I left my apartment and my cats, quit my job of almost 7 years to be with this person. I have stayed in this terrible apartment for him. I paid for everything while he wasn't working. I paid our rent, made sure we had food and money for things. I made sure he had a way to and from work for months so he wouldn't get in trouble with his job, not get in trouble with parole. I quit a job so he could have his job back, and I drove him to and from the cities every day so he was able to get there. I helped him get his license back and have continuously let him use my car to get to work. He has my car right now while he is breaking up with me. I've asked him for 4 hours to bring it back to me. I always made sure he could see his kid. I drove him 6 hours to see him 1 month after we met. I gave him money so his kid could have Christmas presents. I have continued to make sure he had to do what he had to do to not get in trouble with parole. I stuck with him through BS he has to deal with for it. Paid money for things he needed to not get in trouble. All this for someone who continues to lie to me over and over again, who I made excuses for and forgave, who couldn't give me an ounce of emotion when I needed it, for someone who wouldn't defend me when their family was talking badly about me. I bought my own engagement ring and wedding ring. LOL. I am not perfect, and I have caused issues too, but I don't think I deserve this. I have tried to better myself, but it wasn't working fast enough. I have never loved someone so effing much with every single part of me, even though they had so many issues of their own that I look past. I'm effing heartbroken and I feel like I'm dying. How do people get so attached? I just need to understand what was going on in her life to where she has attached to somebody who she is doing everything for, who is not treating her well, who she is paying everything for, who is using her. This dude is a parasite. This dude is a literal parasite. And she's crying that her parasite is trying to detach. The woman says to me, the woman who originally inboxed me said, I've known this woman since we were kids. She's such a kind, sweet person, but I'm not surprised this guy got his hooks in her. And I'm like, is she going to move back? What's the plan? I'm like, what are we doing? Are we solving this? What's going on? She said, according to her updates, she's begging for him to reconcile. I'm like, yikes, how old is she? Why is she this desperate? So they're both 32. She claims it's because he's the love of her life and she'll never love again. Her posts are a mess. And I'm like, I'm reading this and I'm gobsmacked. Women, we got to do better. Okay, so the woman made another update and the woman who's inboxing me sent it to me. She said, I promised myself I would never beg a man to stay. I promised blank would never do that if he wanted to leave me because I know how it feels and don't want someone to stay with me out of pity. And here I am, 32 years old, begging a man to stay, even though he keeps saying no. His mind is made up. But I don't even know how to live without him. I can't even go a few hours without him while he's at work without crying. And now I have to be without him forever. Y'all, we have got to get to the point where we are okay being in a relationship or out of relationship, learning how to be happy within a relationship or outside of a relationship, because this desperation that some people feel to be attached to somebody is so unhealthy. This man, if what she is posting in this is literally taking all of her money, he is on parole, he has a kid that he cannot care for, he is not treating her well, yet she is so upset that her parasite is detaching, and I just cannot. So many of us need to be so much healthier mentally, and it is impacting the other parts of our health and well-being. Her finances are hurting because of this. Her familial relationships are hurting because of this. All of these things go together. Your mental, physical, emotional, financial, and familial relationships all work together. I'm going to use this to highlight my book. I talk about this type of thing in my book, Ashy Men Will Make You Fat, a petty self-help guide, because our health is all interrelated. And who you choose to be in a relationship or stay in a relationship with could impact many different aspects of your life. You can find our book at BurbNBougieShop.com. That is BurbNBougieShop.com. We need balance in all things, and our relationships really do need some balance because it can impact your mental, physical, emotional, financial health, all of that. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this one. If you lasted this long, go ahead and hit subscribe. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.